create the $1.6 billion budget. It's not going to be today, I don't think.
And there was also talk, we hear from our lobbies, there were talk that they might go into like recess for is there primaries?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then come back later, of which, every city and county said, if you come back in June and make this decision, we have to give most of our providers 30 days notice that they're getting no money. I mean, this is not, there's nothing about good government here in terms of if you're going to make some decisions and you're going to defund programs, do it and let us know so we can notify providers that they should take the appropriate actions. And we saw the reduction list of what those are. And those are big, substantial programs that are being delivered here in Scott County.
Well, since there's no reporters here, this is bad government at its worst. Redesigning before you figure out the financials. I mean, I just don't get it. I can't understand that. Don't get it. I just can't get it.
Do you think it's going to get blown up at the end?
I don't know.
And you kind of wonder what's going on. Somebody's just going to blow it out of the water and then just go back to.
And so the property tax bill that passed the House last night, pretty comparable to the Senate, except for there is this limitation in government to the CPI. And while I think that actually might help cities who are at their 810 limit because it takes it off, the city has something called a trust and agency fund that's for their health insurance. And we all know that the general CPI of 2% does not, the health insurance is not considered there. So the counties have no special fund like that. So we will have to, in the future, if that part of limitation passes, we will have to figure out, it will clearly just make a reduction in people. This is just a setup for limiting government, closing down programs. That's what that piece is set up to do. I understand that they believe it's a property tax savings to the individuals, but I don't know if it's a fair and equitable way that they're going about it. The multi-residential, which is about $1 million of loss to us, is in both bills. And so there is some lobbyists, there is some interest that is their economic engine because they're giving the property tax relief to them, not to the commercial and industrial. Their averages that they say that counties are growing in their property tax is 5.8%. Our highest growth since I've been here has been 3.8%, and we won't see that next year. And so I'm not sure that, I think this legislation is crafted around the Dallas counties of the world in the middle of the state, but our economic engine, which is Davenport, does not have that kind of assessment growth and new growth. That's not what's happening here. And so that's going to make our position, I think, even much more difficult. Also, I think it will not help commercial and industrial because it's based on, they have a business tax credit that has something based on your property tax growth in your class, and both of those have decreased this year. And so commercial and industrial property taxpayers for next year literally are going to see a reduction in the overall taxes they pay. We've lowered our rate, plus there has been a reduction in their growth. So,
and is that a reduction because agricultural and residential are tied? Is that why is that?
No, it's a reduction in the value. One, we think in commercial, part of that is the movement of big apartments going over to residential, but it is just the total values in the city of Davenport primarily has been reduced. And It's not that hard. You go out to Elmore and you see the values that were there 5 years ago. Those buildings have depreciated, and they come in, they protested those values, and they've won those cases, and those properties are worth less money. And that's what happens. You have a cyclical situation, and where you would hope that you would have remodeling and upgrading of your commercial sector, that's not exactly occurring in this recession from 2008 on. There's not been the reinvestment in strip malls or big Target stores. And so, that's the urban center. Again, the people who go up and get elected, most of them are not from Scott County. The urban interest is not forefront in their mind. So it'll be interesting to see how they meld these bills together, but from our understanding, and this is seeing the inside a little bit from a few more people because we've been using the Urban Coalition lobbyists, they're all tied together. I mean, there are moral issues still that they're trying to work out, which might be the reason why there's not a transition fund. But there may be there are still other issues that.
By the way, I want
to figure out.
mention that this Urban Coalition, I'm not on that committee, but I've been very impressed with it. I mean, we've got good information from them. They go right to the source. I mean, they're speaking to the leaderships where sometimes we missed that in the past. We always spoke to all of our people, every elected official we had, but we never quite got to the leadership somehow that they got to. And I mean, I've seen that. That's what I've observed at least. And like I said, I'm not on that committee, but I've been impressed with the results that we got from them.
We'll have to. We can't measure it by winning legislation because I think counties and cities and the taxpayers of the state are losers here.
Well, what I'm saying is that they have let the leadership know exactly what our position and what is in. So there should be no excuses out there for whoever they are, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, not to know exactly what.
You've heard our story.
Yeah.
And we registered opposed to the Health and Human Resources budget, which has not enough money in it. So all of the major counties, I think, in the state are opposing that legislation because it's just going to drastically reduce services.
But we are registered to say we believe in the policy
Of redesign.
Yeah, not of funding.
And some counties are changing their mind in the last day on that one, thinking that it might leverage something on the transition, but I don't know if they're listening. They're in closed door sessions, so you don't know if they're listening.
I agree with Jim on this coalition. I think it was a good move on our part.
Well, I think we've learned a lot and from the other supervisors, and we're sharing, numbers, and we're finding that we're more alike than different, and we have common causes.
And it's kind of nice to have a group of us that have a common cause up there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I have.
Okay, so
Remember the volunteer recognition this evening.
tonight,
You coming?
lunch,
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow.
lunch. And then Thursday's our board meeting.